Hey, I have a question for you. Did you know that Amazon loses inventory or damages inventory on a regular basis? And while they do an okay job at reimbursing you, a lot of times they don't. Not until you find the issue and then let them know about it. But that means combing through tons of reports and running things through Excel, doing all these complicated tasks, just way too much. Luckily, I had my team build me software that does this all for me. I called it Refund Genie, and now you can use it too. In fact, thousands of our podcast listeners have already been using it. Here are some real-life results pulled from our FBA High Rollers Facebook group. So here we go. I'm going to omit last names, but if you want to go to our Facebook group, you'll see the post there. But Peter got back $946. Mike got back over $1,000. Jared got back over $8,000. Sherry was using another service that got her $5 back, but got back over $6,000 with Refund Genie. Jessica got back $847, and she has a diligent partner keeping up with her inventory. Mark got back over $13,000. Tony got back over $5,000. Andrea got back $2,200 in less than 24 hours. Sebastian got back $2,500 in 2 days. I personally got back well over $10,000 in just the last few weeks. Kevin King, my buddy, he got back over $28,000 in less than a month. Jenny got back $1,200 in the past week, and Paul got back $13,900. Now, these are real people in our group, like I said, all of them. Feel free to join our Facebook group and do a search for Refund Genie, and you'll see a bunch of raving posts. You can join our Facebook group, by the way, if you're not in there already. There's over 17,000 members by going to ampmpodcast.com/Facebook. By the way, we do not take 25% of your reimbursed money that Refund Genie finds for you. I know there are services that do that. I think that would be a lot. For example, if you're getting back $8,000, we'd feel terrible taking $2,000 of it. Instead, Refund Genie is included in our suite of tools for all paid Helium 10 members, but you get 10 Amazon seller tools that you can use for other things like keyword research, keyword tracking, hijacker alerts, misspelling generation, brand gate checking, listing optimizations, keyword index checking, and so much more. The same tools that I use, the same tools that a ton of big sellers are using. By the way, we also have a 100% money back guarantee. We only want you as a customer if you're thrilled with the tools. So Refund Genie is just one of those tools, and it's included in there. Oh, one other thing, you can check to see how much money you may be owed from Amazon for free. Okay, so you don't have to be a paid member to at least see how much you might be owed. Okay, you can make that decision after you see the numbers. So take at least 2 minutes right now. Okay, you can pause this podcast, go find out, and then play the rest of this podcast. Head over to helium10.com. That's helium10.com. HELIUM10.com.
Warning, the following podcast has been classified as insanely lucrative. Listener discretion is advised.
Kind of a gray area for the main image on product listings. So in order to be creative, sometimes people put different badges.
Your attention, please. Listening to the AMPM podcast may cause recurring revenue stream and unfair advantages over your competitors. Other side effects may include fatter wallets, fired bosses, and longer vacations. Listen at your own risk. Here's your host, seven-figure entrepreneur and online marketing madman, Manny Coates. Manny Coates.
Hello and welcome to the AMPM podcast. My name is Manny Coates and I will be your host, and this is the show where we discuss all things private label and how to generate recurring revenue streams 24 hours per day during the AM and the PM, hence the name of the show. Get it? AMPM podcast. As a matter of fact, I'm about to board a plane and head off to Las Vegas for the Prosper Show, and while I'll be sitting there in my seat 30,000 feet above the ground, I will be making money. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. So today I'm going to be doing an interview with Augustas Kligys, and he is responsible for some very, very popular virtual summits, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that. And he's going to be sharing some nuggets as well from all the speakers that he's spoken to. He's interviewed as well. He's going to be sharing some of that information. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it right now. Hey, everybody. I am here with Augustas Kligys. Did I get that right, Augustas?
Yeah, we were just laughing. Almost. It's Augustas Kligys.
Kligys. All right. Perfect. And you are from a small country. A lot of people may not have heard of it, but you're in Lithuania, but currently living in Germany. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I live with my family. My wife is German.
Awesome. And you've been an online entrepreneur for over 10 years and used to be a freelancer for web programming. And if I remember everything correctly, about 1.5 years ago, you got interested in the Amazon FBA business model. And that's when you became active doing reviews. And you were one of the top German reviews. Is that right? Or reviewers,
Yeah, that's
I should
correct.
say. Not a review, but yeah, you're one of the top German reviewers.
Yeah, I cannot be a review, but I can be a reviewer.
Exactly.
So I would love to be a review which pops up on different product listings.
This is what happens when I don't have enough coffee in the morning. So forgive me, guys. But yeah, tell us a little bit about how you started with that and then where you are now.
So brother-in-law showed me that he did some nice, nice numbers on Amazon. And I started to be interested about 1.5 years ago into this business model. However, I was in the paralysis mode because I searched for a product. I put a lot of conditions on my product research, and I didn't find any product for a few months. I cooperated with a friend, no product found. A lot of reasons we couldn't find a product was also the capital. We had very low budget. So in the end, no product, and I just got tired of this and I let it go, this idea. But I was following all the communities talking about FBA model, and I saw that people have pain in finding information about European marketplaces of Amazon. This is how I created my first virtual summit for Amazon sellers in Europe in 2016. So, and at the moment, I work on the other virtual summit, which is for worldwide audience.
Yeah, and that's actually a pretty cool thing. So last year, were you the first one in this space? I know there's been other people as well now, but were you the first one to do an actual virtual summit where you had all these speakers come online and nobody has to fly out to a conference. They can just, pay and come see everybody live, every day that you have somebody on.
Yes, I think in the Amazon industry, among the sellers, I was the first to do this kind of big. I had 26 speakers for European marketplace coverage. And I know that CPC strategy company, they are doing small virtual summits, but it's more inside the company with their own speakers. So they are not inviting anyone much from the outside. So in this kind of big virtual summit was the first, I would say.
Yeah, and in this year, I was going to save this to the end, but I think we should talk about it. It's called Cellar Optimization Summit, and you're predicting over 40 speakers that are going to be at this event?
Yes, there will be for sure 35 plus, but since I'm still working on the summit, there will be popping up a few more speakers, and I have to confirm a couple of speakers.
All right, and that's over 7 days, right?
The virtual summit will last 7 days, and people will be able to listen it for free.
Okay. Oh, they can. It's free.
Yes, it's free for 24 hours. Each day you receive about 5 or 6 video interviews, which you can watch for free for 24 hours. But next day, old ones are locked, but new ones are unlocked.
Okay. And if somebody wants to unlock them all and so that, they can peruse them at their own convenience, what does that cost?
Yes, it will be called All Access Pass. So if you want to just get instant access and not to wait for any broadcast of all the sessions, you just purchase for something under the $100, between $77 and $97.
Okay. All right. And then where would they go if they want to find out more?
It's selleroptimizationsummit.com.
Okay. All right, cool. There you go. We got the pitch out of the way. We did this in reverse. We got it in the beginning. So
yeah, I hypnotized you. One of my speakers will be a hypnotic copywriter. Maybe she hypnotized me.
You did. I think you did hypnotize me. I've never done this in over 100 podcasts. I always wait till the end. But so anyways, everybody's got it. They hopefully wrote that down. If not, hit that rewind button. But let's talk a little bit about some of your knowledge because, having gone through this last year with your summit, a couple dozen people. This year you're going to have, several dozen. You've probably heard some pretty awesome nuggets. So where should we start? I'm going to let you lead the way. Where do you want to go?
I think it's very important. I like to talk about mindset and success. And when I see what successful Amazon business entrepreneurs, but also in general successful people, what they do, they think long term. And this is a big reminder to myself when I talk to successful people during my interviews. It's long term, long term, long term. Also, Amazon FBA business is long term. So if you focus on your product just to make quick sales within 3 months, it will not work for you, and you will have to finish this kind of activity soon. So it's important to think like 3-5 years in advance what you want to do with all this, what you're doing.
Are you speaking specifically to like building a brand, or are you talking about when you say long term, it's always 3 to 5 years for you, or is a year a long term for you?
It's more maybe the whole business strategy. So if you are building a brand, if it's the whole business of yours, so of course you have to think, I think, for the brand for 3 years in advance what you will do. And I have one speaker on my summit. She's a lady from New Zealand, and she is thinking about when she starts a brand, she's already having in mind to whom she will sell this brand. So it's very interesting. And because before listening to these people, I would think, okay, I will just create my product and put any logo, which will be my brand, and I will not even have a clue what's going to happen with it in a few years.
Yeah, that's true. And Augustas, you're very wise here. How old are you, by the way, in case people are curious?
Let me calculate. It's 2017, so it should be soon 39.
39. All right. You're still in your 30s. So that's good. Eventually you'll be 3010 and 3011, 3012. You don't want to leave the 30s. You know that, right?
Oh, I didn't know.
That's the way it is, yeah.
This kind of calculation didn't come to Europe. We just have Celsius and meters, but this kind of age calculation, not.
It's perfect. It's good. So, all right, think long term. Think where your brand is going to be. Potentially, you already have an exit strategy, whether you want to sell that brand, what you're going to be doing with it. Are you going to brick and mortar? Are you going to be staying online? But that all takes money, right? For example, my launch strategies, I'm giving away tons and tons of products initially to even get myself ranked so that I can start making money organically. So for the first, X number of months, I'm not making money. I'm lucky if I'm breaking even. It's easier if you have money though, right? So what does somebody do if they don't have that capital to do that, to have that long-term vision?
Well, this is another thing which I'm learning from bigger people that basically, yeah, you need capital for this kind of business. Of course, you can start, and there are success stories from which start for a few $100s.
But is that realistic, honestly, in your opinion?
I think it's maybe realistic if you have let's say, backup capital to survive, because from Amazon business starting with 500, 1,000, 2,000, you might not still support yourself. So if you have free time and you want to juggle and learn by doing, I think it's a good strategy. Mm-hmm. But if you want maybe, if you want bigger turnover faster, let's say within half a year, and that it supports your family, your life, I think then it would be wise to sit down and build some strategy. And there are a lot of different strategies how you can raise capital for your business. Doesn't mean that you have to save money when you work. And during my summit also, I will interview people, the guy who did 9 Kickstarter launches. So he funded his products through Kickstarter. Another person had a partnership with influencer who had a website with a big traffic. So the guy just brought his product and the influencer delivered the traffic, and here we go with a big turnover. Okay, influencer also invested some money. So yeah, if you have some strategy, and you meet right people, you can proceed without your own capital for sure.
Yeah, okay. Any other capital sources that pop to mind real quick? I'm putting you on the spot.
If you find a tree with a growing dollars, it would be maybe a possibility, but it might be protected with big fences.
Yeah, exactly. And I should say, guys, I've tried Upfund. I haven't done a lot of them out there. My buddy Kevin King, he's tried just about everything. We're going to be expanding on that in the future, but I've tried Upfund. I got a pretty good amount from them very quickly. You don't need to have a year's worth of history. You just have to be kind of on the upswing with your sales. But if you're first starting out with no sales, then it's a whole different thing. So that's a whole other podcast, right?
I agree.
Yeah. So somebody's starting out, let's back up a little bit, and they've got their product. Everybody thinks reviews. At least the new people I talk to, they're like, oh, they're looking at the competitors' reviews. They're looking at how am I going to get reviews? And that whole marketplace, that whole scene has been disrupted. As a matter of fact, you used to be almost a top 100 reviewer in your country? that right?
Yes, it's in Germany. It's not my home country, but yeah, this is where I lived. And for 1 year, when the review game was allowed, I was a reviewer, and I was getting, I think I reviewed about more than 250 products. And I totally support Amazon in their decision, because I saw it from inside, and it becomes, I think even everyone writes it's an honest review, you are still influenced, especially when you get more expensive item. I got items for maybe 100 euros or 150. I got even for 300, but it can influence you. Plus, when you have relationship with a seller to whom you write a third or second review, it can be difficult sometimes maybe to say that the product is crap. Depends on the relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be a little biased to leave that positive review, no matter how bad it is. So that whole landscape has changed, though, right? So, getting incentivized reviews no longer around. What are your thoughts on new people coming into the game here, wanting reviews, looking at reviews, the whole review thing?
I think people are concentrating or focusing on the wrong thing. It's just because it was it was a process which was easy to abuse. So everyone was abusing in some way, literally buying reviews. And I think the most important is that you deliver value with your product to the customer, not value with some reviews written by top reviewers. So it's important to focus on product quality and the customer service which you provide. And couple of bright minds, smart sellers I talk to, they just say, like, I don't care about reviews. I just proceed with bringing the valued product, good quality, and they succeed. So I think it's not about this kind of game.
Yeah, I think it's overrated. Back in the day when I would teach the initial launches, my mindset was definitely different. I was like, you know what, you got to get reviews that are within reason, a reasonable amount of what your competitors are at. Because if somebody's got 1,000 reviews and you've got, 5, or you say you got 30 or 50 or whatever the number is, it's not going to be good. But I'm noticing that's really it's not affecting me as much as it used to be. In fact, I just talked about this on our Facebook group. By the way, guys, I'm just going to mention it real quick. It's called the FBA High Rollers. If you want to join our Facebook group, 17,000 people in there, go to ampmpodcast.com/Facebook. But in our Facebook group, I don't know if you saw this, Augustas, but I accidentally launched a product. I know it sounds weird, right? I accidentally launched a product, but I had a product come in. We kind of put filler for the image, and the bullet point, I think, said like bullet point 1. And the description was like, it said the word description. The title was messed up. And the product came in, and we were so busy with everything that's going on that I actually forgot to create the listing correctly, right? No reviews, no nothing. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh my gosh, no launch strategy, nothing. Quickly put up some really good photos and created the listing very nicely, but didn't have any kind of official launch strategy. So I'm not saying that people should do this, but my point here is that by doing all that and making it look awesome and making everything, look like a legitimate super product, we started getting sales. Of course, we started, our PPC with just an automatic campaign, and we started getting sales and with 0 reviews, by the way. And now it has a few reviews, but I guess I'm just trying to point out that you don't absolutely have to have reviews. It's not ideal, but I did it, and we were at 10 sales. I think yesterday we were over 20 sales. I mean, it's got literally, I think, 2 reviews right now. So, and it's not that hard to get at least 1 review. I would say, Amazon says, hey, you're not supposed to get friends or family, but do what you got to do to get your first review at least. That's my opinion on that.
Yes, another interesting point about reviews. Everyone, at least before, they were thinking that they need as much as possible reviews. And then I made an interview with James Thompson, the ex-Amazonian who runs Prosper Show, the offline conference for Amazon sellers.
Mm-hmm.
I asked him, he was talking about seller feedback, how important it is. And I asked, what about product reviews? And what he mentioned that, he said that sometime when you have like 10 or 15 reviews, afterwards, more reviews is just a nice thing to have, but it doesn't really affect Amazon algorithm. So he says it's more important to concentrate afterwards to get positive seller feedback, because Amazon is looking at these metrics that, let's say, your sales are growing, and if you're not receiving seller feedback, it means something is wrong. So basically, when your sales are growing, you have to receive a proportional amount of seller feedback as well. So it was very interesting that you said you don't need, excessive amount of reviews.
Yeah, no, that is interesting to continually get that seller feedback in. That's good. It's good to know. And you're right, though. The actual reviews, for me, it's social proof, right? So if somebody comes in and they see that there's like 12 reviews or 20 reviews, or in your case, like you said, once you go over a certain limit, if you have 50 reviews, it doesn't really matter that much. But initially, I think you want to get that. You want to try to get to that threshold, but you can do it organically. You don't have to go out and do it like we did in the old days. Although it is helpful, I will say, if you can start off with 10 reviews, it's certainly better than starting off with 0. Do whatever you got to do to get them.
Yeah, Anthony Lee, whom I interviewed, he is representing Zonblast, the product launching company, I think, and he says that he himself is getting reviews from from his network.
Yeah, well, there you go. Again, Amazon is very specific about what you can and can't do. When they say you can't use friends and family, everybody I know uses friends and family, so you're just not saying that, right? So be resourceful. Right? to get your first reviews. And if your product is good, like you said, if your photography is good, the sales will come. If your customer service, if you're following up, if somebody's got a problem with their product, don't send them to Amazon, guys. At least that's my opinion. We don't do that. We don't have anybody return things to Amazon. If they have an issue, we send out a new unit ourselves. We send them a replacement part, whatever it is. We have spare parts for that reason. And that's the reason why our seller feedback and our reviews are stellar, really good. So that's really important. That brings me to my next point, because I think what really helped me sell that product that I accidentally kind of launched last minute was the photos. The photos were really good. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, actually, this is an interesting point, which I notice many of my people I talk to mention that outsource photography or invest a lot of money, or don't be cheap on photography. I think your buddy Kevin King is doing that. He told me that he spent a couple of $1,000s on photographing things for his product, and this is, I hear probably 5 or more times I heard during my interviews.
Yeah, I think it's probably, if it's not the biggest, outside of keywords, maybe just so that people can actually find your product. I mean, if you have incredible photos but nobody can find your product, then you're kind of stuck. But once they can see your listing, like, in the search results or however they get to your thumbnail, that thumbnail has to sell you. That has to be phenomenal. And if you're taking a selfie and the lighting is bad and everybody else is using really high-end photographers to get that really incredible looking shot, you're going to get killed. You're going to get squashed. And when people are clicking on their products, you're going to be, and not yours, you're going to be moving down the rankings, and eventually you have no sales. So I think that's one of the areas where people try to save money where they shouldn't, right? Spend money there, guys. And it's going to cost you, it cost me several $100s per product at least to get the photography done. Kevin King, as you just mentioned, Augustas he spends a lot more. He tries to get everything done in one day, though. He comes out and has like 10 products shot and hires a photographer for the whole day.
Mm-hmm. And of course, it's not only photography. Sometimes it's also what you put on those images. So there is, I think, kind of a gray area for the main image on product listings. So in order to be creative, sometimes people put different badges, which might not be allowed by the terms conditions, but people still do different badges or flags. So
yeah, I guess it's legal until you get caught, right? And then you're in trouble. But here's something that I've seen, and I've talked about this in the past. Be creative. Okay, so Amazon says you're not supposed to add extra stuff. For your main thumbnail image, we're talking about the one with the white background. You're not supposed to add badges or borders or anything that isn't actually sold with that product, right? If you sell coffee, you can't show a blender. I'm sorry, not a blender, a coffee machine next to the the coffee bag or whatever. So you got to be creative. But if you're selling jelly beans, as an example, let's say you sell candy and you got the world's most awesome jelly beans, you can spell out the word jelly beans with those jelly beans that you buy and put that across the top along with an open bag showing all the colors and stuff. And that would be cool because when people are looking at the thumbnails, right, yours is going to stand out because it's got an actual word. And your eyes are scrolling through the images and your mind's going to see that word, boom, and you're going to pause. It's going to make you see that one. And that's worked really, really effectively for people that have products where they can do that kind of stuff. Have you seen those?
Yes, I have seen, I think, for some seats. And actually, today I was asked by someone, is it okay to, if you are selling a cloth, if it's okay if there is a woman dressed with my clothes, which I'm selling? So I was wondering, yeah, it's a good question. Can a person be dressed with something you sell?
Yeah, you know what? I don't sell clothes. That's models. I would imagine it's probably not allowed on the main image, but certainly all the other images would. I'd have all the nicest looking models. It'd be a lot of lifestyle shots that make it look cool and appealing. But I know Amazon's really strict about you know that product. If you have a bracelet, you're selling a bracelet. You're not supposed to show a hand with a bracelet on it in the main image. It's just got to be the product itself. So and
Yeah.
also they do that for two reasons, right? They want to make sure it's all clean. This is what I understand. They want to make sure everything is formatted similarly. It looks clean. It's not, I don't know if you remember the old site MySpace, how that thing ended up going crazy when they let everybody do what they wanted. But also because there's confusion in the market. If you've got something and you're showing other products on that image, people might assume that they're getting those products that are in that image, even though it might be just one thing.
Yeah,
So,
that's correct.
so all right, cool. What's next? What else should we talk about here?
I noticed that some people, some speakers or gurus of Amazon, they mention that when they talk about optimization, and people use these information they get from Amazon dashboard about their sponsored ads campaigns, there is this thing of wrongly calculating your ACOS, ACOS.
How so?
And it's because on the Amazon dashboard, it shows only the campaign percentage of this acquisition cost, but people might be forgetting that there is also FBA fees and all other costs associated with the product sourcing and shipping. So basically, the number of ACOS you see on the dashboard, it's not really you shouldn't be happy about this if it's a good number, because you might be forgetting a lot of other costs involved in the product.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's the general issue with, well, I wouldn't say people in general, but there are some that will teach, even in our groups, people say, hey, make sure you do this, this, and this, and then look at this number, and I've got a 60%, profit. And I'm like, but are you calculating, your refunds and your promo codes and your, these things that people don't think about. And when it's all said and done, you could be upside down. But yeah, that's interesting. So ACOS then, what's the takeaway on that? Look at it and then go back and what?
Well, probably the best way is to use some of the tools which can, import Amazon Seller Central data and show you the real costs. Otherwise, it might be difficult and long time-consuming work to work with the spreadsheets.
Yeah, there's a couple tools out there, guys, that you can use for that. I use HelloProfit. Ryan Bredemeyer over there, he's one of the co-founders. He's a cool guy. I love that guy. We hang out at conferences and stuff. But he has a tool called HelloProfit that breaks down all your costs, from shipping to Amazon's fees to advertising to you name it. And in the end, you can see very quickly how much profit you're making. So check it out. We have it actually linked in our tools section. I think some of the tools and services that we have, we'll get a small affiliate commission on, but some of them we don't. So I don't actually remember which ones we get an affiliate commission on. But you guys can go to ampmpodcast.com and there's a tools section. I think it's /tools and check it out. Have you ever used HelloProfit?
Since I'm not selling, so I haven't.
No. Oh, that's right. You don't sell. You just accumulate all the knowledge and then share it. So that's cool. So you're one of the first people that I've actually talked to that's, getting into all the nitty gritty here, but actually isn't a seller. So that's a good point.
I hope I'm bringing a lot of value to the people with my summit. And I think one of the most important things for sellers to remember, also when I speak to some experts in this area, most of the time these words are coming from ex-Amazonians like James Thompson or Karina McLeod. They are talking about customer-centric approach in your business, Amazon business, because for Amazon, the customer is number one. And when you as a seller, you are thinking of entering Amazon's boat and doing business inside their house, you have to follow the rules of Amazon, and the rules of Amazon are obviously all tuned towards the customer. So if you are unhappy about how Amazon treats you, might be that you're doing something wrong towards the customer. So
yeah. Yeah, and James, is he one of the speakers as well on your summit, or was that just a webinar?
Yes, he is one of the speakers in my summit, and he will talk about 10 biggest mistakes even experienced Amazon sellers are making. So
Okay, cool.
it's interesting.
Yeah, we have him coming up on a webinar as well. So I don't know, by the time they listen to this podcast, we might have had it out. It just depends on when this gets out. But yeah, smart guy. Plus, he used to work at Amazon, so that's always a bonus, right?
Yes, and he also talks to a lot of smart people in the industry because he's running Prosper Show.
Yeah, I heard Prosper, it's sort of a large show, huh? It's pretty big. I'm actually going, by the way. Are you going to be there?
No, not this year.
No? Okay. It's my first time going to Prosper. So if you guys are listening and you are going to Prosper and you see me, come over and say hi. I'd love to meet you guys. So, okay. So people that are getting into this, they're focused on Amazon. What are your thoughts on them focusing just on Amazon for X amount of time? Because you talked about a 3 to 5 year, future plan, right? At what point do you think they should shift their focus from Amazon? Because that takes up a lot of mind power, a lot of time to get that thing launched and going. At what point do they shift over to outside traffic? Or do you even believe in driving outside traffic?
Outside traffic to Amazon, of course, of course, it's easy to implement. You can do Facebook advertising or create your website and advertise Google AdWords, perhaps. But it's important, of course, to think about your business expansion to other platforms to sell on other e-commerce channels. And it's probably, if you are starting, it's worth to concentrate, to focus on Amazon at the beginning. But whenever you already launched your product and it's not much to do there, more or less, you can probably start creating your own web store. And what you want to do, you want to collect email addresses of your customers. So if you will be driving traffic not directly to your Amazon listing, but you advertise on other platforms and you send traffic to your web store, you could create your email list of potential customers, and then this is how you could add value to your brand as well.
Yeah, and you can use that list, as you mentioned earlier, to launch additional products and even get reviews down the road for those products without having to go and use another service.
Yeah, and it would be all within terms of and conditions of Amazon.
Yeah. So what would you say is from the people that you've talked to, what's the number one source or platform outside of Amazon that people are going to with success?
It sounds that the easiest way is just to go on eBay using Joe Lister. According to Kevin King, it's like very easy integration. If you want to go to platforms like Walmart and Jet, I think there might be a lot of different requirements which might not be possible to be fulfilled by new sellers, because I think they are looking for more established businesses.
Yeah, that's true. I could speak to Joe Lister. I didn't actually set it up. I had my brother do that. I said, it's been forever. I'm like, you know what? I got to do this. And I just never had time. So I said, Mike, set us up on Joe Lister. He's like, what is that? Just look it up. And he actually had it implemented in about 10, 15 minutes. And we generate several sales a day now off of that. So, and it doesn't seem like a lot, right? When you think, 2 or 3 sales per day, not a lot, but when the average sale is, $30, let's say, that's almost, that's what, 60 to almost $100 a day. That's $3,000 a month. So, do the math. That's going to be over $30,000 by the end of the year in extra sales for 10 minutes to implement. And then it's completely automated at that point because it just pulls all your information from Amazon, fills your eBay account, your listings up, and then anybody that buys off of eBay, it just gets fulfilled by Amazon. So it's 100% automated. I haven't spent 5 seconds with it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. 5 extra sales for no work. It's good.
Yeah.
And for Walmart and Jet, for my virtual summit, I interviewed founder of a tool called Cellar. And they are also, I think, thinking to expand to eBay. So very soon they might also be able to export listings from Amazon and put it on eBay.
Okay, there you go, guys. So 2 sources you can go check out. Awesome. All right, we're roughly at the 30-minute mark. So I want to cover a few more topics with you. I've got a list here. Where should we go? What about meeting people? How important is that?
Oh, yes. I think what I noticed also from successful people that they always, they search how to network with the bigger people than they, and also at least to find a big network of their own level people, let's say business level people. So they create mastermind groups and they exchange ideas. And this is also what happens in my private life, that before I was a web developer and I was just doing, hourly freelance work. But now when I do summits, I kind of talk a lot with all these people who have experienced a lot and they are really smart, and I see how I can grow myself. So even you cannot find other Amazon sellers, find someone, maybe a business coach or someone who has bigger knowledge in the business world, who can lead you a little bit and give you some fresh ideas.
Yeah. No, it's super important. It's one of the biggest things I've told people in terms of the success of your business, looking forward that future, is network. Get out there. And I think people underappreciate or undervalue going to conferences, for example. It's funny, Kevin King and myself, we've been to, Guillermo goes to all the conferences that I go to, but Kevin tags along on some of these as well. And he'll be like, yeah, I didn't really learn too much at this one, because Kevin just got a lot of knowledge when it comes to selling on Amazon. But he always gets a nugget or two every single time. Every single time I've gone, even when he says he's not going to get one, he gets one, and it makes a big difference in his business. But more so than that, it's the networking, man. Right after the conference ends, 5 o'clock, let's say, and we're going to get dinner or we're going to the bar to grab a drink or whatever, you meet those people, and you meet that right person that maybe they're experts at Instagram or something that you're not doing yet, and your eyes, kind of get wide, like, holy crap, I haven't thought about doing that. This just happened to us. In fact, when we went to the ClickFunnels event, talking to a guy that was just an expert with Instagram specifically. And we now have a plan that we're going to use to attack Instagram in a way that I've not heard anybody else talk about, right? So that should add, I'm hoping, 6 figures in sales over the course of this year, once we get around to actually implementing it. But, people say, well, how many conferences do you go to? I go to as many as I possibly can that I think are going to make sense. We went to ClickFunnels. From ClickFunnels, we immediately flew to Miami for another conference. It was a high-level conference there. And then we're back now. We're going to be going to Prosper, and then I'm going to another one next month. So it's important. You always meet people that are going to add value, I think, if you make the effort. You can't sit in the corner and not talk to people, though, right? You actually got to go and chat with them.
Yeah, that's correct. And I think maybe most of the cases you don't hear many new things in the conferences like this, but the most important are people you meet, of course.
Yeah. And you don't have to go to conferences, guys. You can do it online as well. But, put a voice to the name to call people up, with Skype and with all kinds of different, I am technologies now. It's just awesome to call somebody. And do this also, by the way, I'm kind of jumping around here. I'm a little ADD, Augustus, but do this with your suppliers too. Everybody's always just typing. You know what? If they speak English, give them a call every once in a while. Let them know who you are. It'll go a long ways in building that relationship and getting really good pricing. So, all right. I took the conversation away from you. I got to give it back. Where do you want to go?
To bed.
I know. It's like, what time is it there now?
It's 9 p.m.
Wow, come on, that's early. You're young. You're still in your 30s.
Right. How do you know it's early for me? You are correct.
9 p.m. I don't know. As an entrepreneur, 9 p.m. that's very early.
You're right. Yeah, for me it's still lots of hours ahead sometimes.
Yeah. So let's talk about. You said James Thompson. He's always talking about Amazon and how they treat people and what they do. You have anything to add to that?
Yeah, there was one interesting thing. I asked him, why Amazon or why sellers are complaining that Amazon is not communicating to them. Amazon suspends the listing, and Amazon sellers have no idea why. And what James explained to me was that basically you are inside the house of Amazon. So before entering the house, please read the manual of the house, which means read all the terms of conditions. And if you messed up, we don't want to be, your father and mother and take with hand and show where you made a mistake. So you have to know where you make mistakes. And by this, I think they are just, this is why Amazon maybe is able to grow so fast because they are not losing this energy into educating sellers who have to educate themselves,
Yeah. Okay.
So,
And you had
yeah.
mentioned earlier, reviews versus feedback and how Amazon really puts emphasis on feedback. According to James, anyways, that's what he was saying. Did you guys talk about any of the actual metrics or numbers or percentages and that kind of thing?
Not as I remember. No, I think we didn't go into such details.
Okay. I'll have to ask him then because I'm super curious about that. Like, should you have like a 1% feedback to purchase ratio or what the number is? At what point does it actually start affecting or hurting you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it would be interesting if you get this information from him.
Yeah, I'll ask him. I'm also curious too, and I don't know if you guys talked about this, but if you already have, let's say you have 2,500 seller feedbacks. You have a lot, right? Okay, whatever the number is, but it's thousands. And then you decide, you know what, I just don't want to ask anybody for seller feedback anymore. You continue your sales. Even though you have thousands, because you're making sales and you don't have any new ones coming in, was it his opinion, if you recall how this went, that it would actually negatively affect your account?
I think I didn't say that it would negatively. You mean thousands of sales or thousands of reviews?
So forget about the reviews. We're talking about seller feedback itself, right? So if you already have, let's say, 2,500 seller feedback, okay, and I go, I don't really need any more, so I'm not going to actively go after any more seller feedback, but you continue, selling, thousands of products a month. Would that hurt you think?
What I understood is that the Amazon algorithm expects a certain percentage of seller feedback. It's like maybe, you expect 2% refunds. So Amazon algorithm probably expects X% of seller feedback for all your sales. So if your seller feedback stopped and you are still selling, they might, what he said, that they might put you on a long-term payment plan. I mean, he meant that they will pay out money. They will, they will suspend your money. They will wait to see if these sales, which exaggerated, they are not for some fake product or some bad product. So
okay, yeah, it's very interesting. I wonder if it's a rolling type number. Like, if I already have thousands and I stopped, does that thousands count towards that percentage, or whether they're looking at just the last 30 days or 90 days or something like that? I'll ask James about it. These are technical questions that I always like to talk about the numbers. So, okay, moving on. What else do we want to hit? We covered a lot of things here.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of things. And if people want to hear more ideas, more interesting interviews and master classes, they can visit Cellar Optimization Summit at the beginning of April. It will be launched on 3rd of April on Monday, and it will last for 7 days.
Great. And guys, you said it was going to be under $100, right? If you wanted to unlock it, the full access?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. I mean, $100 to have all this information is just insane. So you're providing massive value. And these are speakers. Well, let me ask you that, actually. How do you pick your speakers?
Of course, I'm looking for known speakers, but sometimes from leaders, it's not so easy to extract new things which people haven't heard. So for this reason, I have also maybe almost half of my speakers are unknown names. And sometimes you can find really brilliant people and smart minds which you want to connect to. And when I organize a summit, I simply, depending on the theme of the summit, of course, I look for the names in the podcasts, in the Facebook communities. And yeah, this is how I pick. Some speakers I just pick from the Facebook groups when I see that they are offering something interesting, like Hypnotic Copywriter, for example. And I just reached out to her, and this is how I get in touch.
Okay, cool. Well, at least 30 speakers, maybe 40 for under $100, and you can get them for free if you just want that day, the 24-hour access. Seems like a no-brainer. So definitely check that out, guys. Where do they go again if they want to do that?
It's easy. It's selleroptimizationsummit.com.
Okay. And if they want to reach out to you, is there a good way of doing that?
Yes, I ran a European Private Label Summit last year in September. So it was for people who are interested in Europe, in expanding to Europe. And for that reason, I created a blog where I share some information from European marketplaces. And this blog you can reach In short, it's augustas.me, and it will redirect to my name-surname.com. But because my name-surname is a bit too complicated to spell, so you just go Augustas with AS at the end and .me, and you will be redirected where you want. And there you will, if you want to get in touch with me, you will find a way to reach me.
Okay, one final question. If you can go back 19 years, back to when you're 20 years old, what would you tell yourself?
I'm looking at the script, and this question was not in the list.
Yeah. What would you do? Related to business, what would you say to yourself?
I think I would say, take action, baby, take action. I think it's very important to do small steps and not to be paralyzed in thinking about the future. And just you have to do things step by step.
Yeah, just jump in, get it going at least. Otherwise, you won't do it. Perfect. Okay, well, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Augustas. If you like this episode, check out episode 106. It's one of my favorite episodes because I talk about a new tool called Refund Genie, which helps you find hidden Amazon reimbursements. I've gotten back over $6,000. My friend Kevin King got back $700 in one day and $1,700 the very next day when he woke up in the morning. It's awesome. So check it out, episode 106, and find out how you can get reimbursements within hours. Hey guys, listen up. If you're loving the content from the podcast, but you want to take it to the next level and learn advanced strategies, the strategies that I'm using to take myself from $1.6 million in sales last year to what I'm hoping will be $4 million in sales this year, then listen up, okay? I just need a few minutes of your time because this is going to be awesome. I've created a high-end paid training group called the Illuminati Mastermind. Now, before you go, what is the Illuminati? I'm just going to tell you. The modern definition of Illuminati is a person who is enlightened beyond others about a specific topic. In our case, that topic is private label. Our Illuminati members will be enlightened in the art of outsmarting, outranking, and outselling their competition. So let me tell you just some of what has been covered so far in our monthly training. Okay, we talked about a secret strategy we use to ensure that our supplier is giving us the best possible price. And this has saved us tens of thousands of dollars already this year. It's probably going to be over $100,000 for me personally by the end of the year, right? Because if you're spending $6 a unit on a product instead of $3 and you think you got the best price, you're getting hosed, right? So we're going to show you how to fix that. We also talked about a quick service that I linked to my Amazon account that should generate me more than $20,000 in sales this year alone from eBay. And I wasn't going to be selling on eBay, but guys, this took just 15 minutes to set up and I never need to do anything again. And I'll be honest, I didn't even set it up. I just kind of pushed it off to somebody else and they did it. How to add high converting coupon buttons to your pages that almost nobody is doing. This one really blew away a lot of people. And that's just in our free webinar, okay? The free webinar that I want you to check out right now. That's going to be at illuminatimastermind.com. So write that down, illuminatimastermind.com. If you join us on the paid membership, we open the floodgates for you, okay? Our paid Illuminati monthly training members just learned how I save myself over $1,000 per month, sometimes $1,500 per month on freight forwarding with just a 1-minute tweak. It's super simple, and this is easily gonna add up to at least 12 grand this year, maybe more, and that's money in my pocket. We also talked about who I go to on Amazon for better seller support, right, than the general seller support staff, because I seem to never get anywhere with those guys, and I know a lot of people complain about them. So I'm gonna tell you what I do to get by them. And we're gonna talk about a service that Kevin King uses to get his products included in tons of catalogs and gift guides. And these things generate sales for him daily. And it really, really crushed it in all the Christmas guides that he got his products into during the holidays. We talked about how to force Amazon into giving you the perfect keyword-filled URL, okay, so that you rank better with SEO. If you don't do the exact process, you're just gonna be given a random URL with a bunch of keywords from your title and it's just a mess. It doesn't do anything for you. We also talked about how traditional product inserts, standard paper inserts you put into your product boxes that you hope someone will type in the website and go register the warranty or whatever it might be, how those are pretty much obsolete unless you are part of our group. And if you're part of our group, then you're gonna know we have something we call the Illuminati inserts, and they're gonna blow your mind. It's crazy, right? You gotta get with the 21st century. All of this and a ton more. And we do it every single month during our high-end webinar training. And we also do a monthly Q&A session with me, Kevin, and our other super successful mentors, just to make sure that you're covered on all the topics that we presented. And if you're ready to take it to the next level beyond the monthly training, and assuming that there are any tickets left, please come and join us at our live Illuminati Mastermind training with 74 other Amazon sellers. That's right, we've got a cap. There's 75 people that are coming out to this event, and it's going to be amazing. It's 3 nights, and I think it's going to be mind-blowing. The guests that we're bringing out to speak, the mentors, are top level. A lot of these guys have never spoken at other events. We got them to agree to come out to our event, and we're super, super excited. By the way, none of this is cheap, okay? I always say this up front because we don't want tire kickers. We want people that want to take action, right? Would you rather be cheap, or would you rather have the potential to rub elbows with guys that really know what's going on, guys and gals, to potentially 2x, 3x, and even 10x your earnings? So come join us. I'll show you a tool, if you don't already know about it, that's in our free webinar, by the way, that should hopefully pay for your monthly training for some time to come if you actually use it, okay? It'll get you some money back. So head over to IlluminatiMastermind.com and sign up for the next webinar right now, okay? The first 2 live webinars we did, by the way, they maxed out at the 1,000 seat capacity. So get there early, don't miss it, add it to your calendar, set a reminder with Siri or Cortana or whoever it is that you're using for that specific time on that date. And yeah, head over to IlluminatiMastermind.com and I'll see you on the inside.
You've been listening to the AM/PM podcast hosted by Manny Coates. For more information, insider tools, and to get the resources mentioned in this episode, visit ampmpodcast.com.